In the spring of 1922, on a remote farmstead in southern Germany, 6 people were murdered in one of the most disturbing and baffling crime scenes in European history. The isolated farm was called Hinterkaifeck, and the family living there appeared ordinary from the outside. Andreas Gruber, his wife Cecilia, their widowed daughter Victoria Gabriel, her 2 young children, and a newly hired maid named Maria Baumgartner. But in the days leading up to the murders, something was already wrong. Andreas had told neighbors that he heard heavy footsteps in the attic, yet found no one there. He discovered a newspaper on his property that no one in the household had purchased. Keys began disappearing. Strange footprints were found in the snow, leading from the forest to the house, but none leading back. On the night of March 31st, one by one, members of the family were lured into the barn. There, they were killed with a mattock, a farming tool similar to a pickaxe. Andreas, his wife, Victoria, and 7-year-old Cecilia were murdered in the barn. The killer then entered the house, where 2-year-old Joseph was killed in his crib, followed by the new maid, who had arrived only hours earlier and had never even spent a full night on the farm. Days later, concerned neighbors came to investigate after mail went unanswered and the family failed to appear at church. What they found was beyond comprehension. The bodies lay where they had fallen, partially covered with hay. But what truly terrified investigators was not only the brutality of the murders, it was what appeared to happen afterward. The animals in the barn had been fed. The fireplace had been used. Food had been eaten from the kitchen. The killer had remained on the farm for days after slaughtering the entire household. Despite one of the largest murder investigations in German history at the time, no suspect was ever convicted. Dozens were questioned. Former lovers, neighbors, traveling workers, even a potential serial killer were investigated. Nothing held. The murder weapon was later discovered hidden on the property. No fingerprints led anywhere. No motive was ever proven. Theories emerged of family secrets, hidden abuse, inheritance disputes, and a stalker who had been watching the farm long before the killings. Yet every theory collapsed under scrutiny. The crime scene itself had been compromised by curious villagers before police arrived, destroying evidence that could have solved the case. Hinterkaifeck was eventually demolished. The land was cleared. The family was buried. But the mystery remained. Who watched the farm? Who left the footprints? Who lived among the dead? More than a century later, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain unsolved, not simply because no one knows who committed them, but because the killer did not flee. He stayed. He ate. He fed the animals. And then, without ever being seen, he vanished.